Hey everybody, how are you tonight? Thanks so much for being here for the wrap up. And I just wanted to say first, wow, really, really big thanks to everyone who's participated. And I actually came up with some awards for this evening because there are people who have been participating in the Facebook group, people who have been participating in the public page, and people who have been just emailing me and letting me know with their updates what's going on. So I thought I would just do a few shout outs and hellos. Hey Chris, how are you? Thanks for joining me tonight. It's going to be you and I chatting. Um, but I was just saying that we've got some awards tonight, and the other thing is I want to talk about um, the idea that you've heard me say before that this is a long game, right? Like the fitness is just a long game. And even though we had like 5 weeks together and we'll have more coming up, but it was a 5 week program. It was kind of like a jump start, right? Like sometimes you have to have something that just kind of gets you going. But then after that, it's the time to dial it in and figure out what's going to keep you going. And I see it so much. I see it so much at the gym. Like people will come in and they'll start, and they're usually good for 2 or 3 days. Hey, Rita. And then after they've been in the gym for 2 or 3 days, maybe sometimes 2 or 3 weeks even, then they just disappear. And I might see them again in a year. And it's hard. Like it is hard. I absolutely 100% recognize that sticking with a plan that's going to keep you on track and in shape it's work. And so many of us put work first that we don't acknowledge that really, it's almost like a second job, but it's a second job that has to be your first job. So I'm going to stop there for a second and let's just chat for a second. Oh, if y'all have any questions tonight, just chime in. And if you are some of the people who emailed me, hey, Annie, how are you? I haven't seen you, Anne, in forever. Um, so if you're a couple of the people who have already emailed me today and said that you're not going to be here live, but you will be watching it later, if you have questions, just leave questions here. And I want Kayla. We have a full house for me tonight. Anne and Chris, you guys need to meet. We have to go ride bikes together. We happen to be in the same city, the three of us. So we need to do some bike riding together. You guys will love each other. And yeah, so and Joan's here. Okay, I'm going to just say hi for a couple of minutes because I don't want to get started and then have to repeat myself, or have to, not that I have to repeat myself, but have to have you guys listen to me repeat myself. So yes, I really appreciate everyone being here. And once again, for those of you who just jumped on, hang on, let me just, oh, look at this. See, I never did get glasses like I told y'all I was going to do. I'm dropping my glasses down to read notes again. Have fun. Have fun, Kayla. I saw that you were in Wichita and you were running some beautiful areas. Congratulations. And congratulations for sticking with the whole running thing. So what we're doing tonight is we're going to talk about wrapping up, moving forward, and then what the next steps are. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about is that it's so easy to get started, like to say that I want to do X, or I'm going to whatever it is. I'm going to change my eating habits. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get strong. Whatever it is. It's just so easy to say that you're going to do those things and then fall back. And the reason that we fall back is that it's not that we don't have commitment, and it's not that we don't have desire, and it's not that we don't want all those things. Oftentimes it's a couple of things. One of them is that it's habit, right? And habit is super, super strong. Like your habits are just like literally roads through your neural pathways in your brain. And when you want to change them, what happens is that it's like when you're walking along a path and you want to start taking a new path every day. So you're walking along a path, and here's the new path that you're going to take. And you turn and you start on that new path, and then you get distracted. something, you forget about something, and next thing you know, you're back on the old path. And that's what happens with habits. Like, you get triggered by things that you may not even really realize are the things that trigger you. Triggering can be certain things that happen every day at the same time. That I was having a conversation with a friend this weekend, and she said that, she's like, every night I say that I'm not going to have wine this evening, and then my husband comes home, and next thing I know, I've just got the bottle of wine out and I'm opening it. And I said, it's a trigger, right? Like, he comes home, your habit is to have a glass of wine together, and you don't even think about it. It's something that you just do not think about. So one of the things that you can do is to either figure out what your triggers are. And when you know your triggers, and triggers can be like emotional, they can be time-based, like my friend whose husband comes home at a certain time and boom, they do the same thing. It could be emotional, where I have another friend who she eats emotionally. That's what she does. And whenever she gets in an argument with her son or her husband, both of them just trigger her, and she just eats. And she says to me, she's like, I didn't even think about it. Next thing I know, I'm like standing there with the ice cream, a half gallon of ice cream in my hand, and I'm eating. And it's just an emotional trigger. So it's figuring out what those triggers are. But even more than that, it's figuring out what you really want. A long time ago, I decided that the best thing I could do to achieve what I wanted to achieve was, instead of, because I would always write my goals. I'd be like, my goals for the next quarter, my goals for the next year, whatever. And I'd write them out. And I realized that, to me, the word goals didn't have as much power as the word commitment. So I changed that word, and I suddenly said, my commitment for the next quarter, or my commitment for this year. And when I say it's my commitment, it's actually I'm out of integrity if I don't keep my commitment, right? So by just changing a word, I was able to change, like, dramatically how much more I was able to achieve what I wanted to achieve. So, like, I would have said that, really, honest to goodness, sadly, from probably achieving 20%, the 80-20% rule, I was probably hitting 20% when I was calling it goals, and I'm probably hitting it, I would say, close to 80% when I call it commitment. So so looking for those kinds of things, what are the triggers that are going to get you? What are the actions, the words, all of those things that you need to get where you want to get? Another thing that I'd like to say is, like, where is it that you want to be? And I started to talk about the long game a minute ago, but I always talk about the long game, because to me, fitness is a long game. Like, I think when we're probably, I don't know, I'm going to make stuff up. When we're in our 20s, right? For me, when I was in my 20s, losing weight and getting into that certain outfit, or feeling that certain way because I weighed a certain amount. Those were my, goal. Those are my desires, really, not really goals. They were just desires. So as I grew up a little bit, I realized that, yes, that's still a piece, because I still want to be able to wear my clothes and not, and not fit into them. But also, it's more of the fact that it is a long game, because if today I'm doing the things that matter for, my health and my fitness and all of the stuff that I want, including, the runs that I want to do and the rides that I want to do, all those things. So if I'm doing the stuff that I need to do today, then I'm still going to be able to do them next week and the next month and the next year. But if I'm not doing them right now, then I'm actually moving backwards. So that comes to the next piece, and the next piece is, and this is, if you know me personally, I'm a little bit of a Pollyanna. I don't like to ever say, like, what's the bad that can happen. But a really powerful exercise is to sit down with a piece of paper and say to yourself, if I'm not willing to make the changes that I want to make, to have the commitments that I want to have, where am I going to be in 6 months or a year or 2 years or 5 years? I know I was working with a client just the other day, and and she's been having a hard time sticking to everything she says she's going to do. She just starts and then slides back and starts and slides back. And she really didn't have a lot of commitment. I mean, honestly, she hired me, and then, we would talk, and I'd be like, I don't think you really want to, I don't think you're really playing full out here. I think you're kind of playing half-assed, quite frankly. But what happened was I said, okay, I want you to do me a favor. You're going to sit down after our call today, and you're going to write out a page, 2 pages, whatever it takes. And you're going to let me know what happens if you don't do the things that you need to do now. So for her, she does need to lose some weight. She's pretty heavy. She does need to exercise more. She does need to lower her blood pressure. I mean, she needs to be taking care of herself. And so I just told her, I want to know the bad stuff that's going to happen. What's going to happen if you don't do the things you need to do? And so she did. She wrote it out, and she followed the plan, and she came back and she was like, man, I didn't realize it, but I keep thinking that I can start next week, or I can start, in 2 weeks, or I can, I've still got time. And when you made me realize that in a year, I'm not going to be 30 pounds heavier, I'm going to be possibly even more than that. I'm not going to be, on blood pressure medicine. I might even be on something else. And so it really was kind of a wake-up call. So I would highly recommend that that you think about that. If you're having trouble sticking to what you want to do, that's, it's the wake-up call. It's the wake-up call exercise. It's not the Pollyanna exercise for sure, but it's like, what would be the worst thing that could happen if you didn't do what you said you wanted to do? So, all right, enough of the bad stuff. Let's talk real quick. Let me ask, does anyone have any questions before I keep going? And I know Kayla's got to jump off pretty quick, but if anyone has any questions, let me know. And I do want to talk about what we do next, right? Like, where do we go next? But first, if you guys don't mind, I have some awards I wanted to give, because some of you who are on the call today are have been in the Fit, Fab, and Free 5-week course that we've been doing. Some of you guys are brand new, so you may not have seen the call, the videos, and seen the comments in the private group. But there's been a fairly good number of people who have stepped up and consistently done the homework and done what they said they were going to do. Not everybody posts in the Facebook group. I mean, not everybody's comfortable just putting their information out on the Facebook group. And I will tell you that we're actually building a members only site so that you can have private conversations behind a login, which feels, and I know, like, even for me, I mean, I'm not a super sharer on Facebook, even though I have learned that Facebook private groups are actually pretty private. But you'll be able to share behind a login, which I think might be a little bit better. So next thing is the awards. So I wanted to say, for the 3 people, or actually I've got 6 people who have shown up very consistently. And that would be Joan, Kayla, and Michelle. And then the people who have shown up by email are Jane, Lucy, and Brenda. So congratulations. Like, you guys have really actually shown up in a way that made me remember to even show up even more, because I do tend to put information out there and then kind of go into my cave and do my own thing and come back a week later and put my information out there. But you guys held me to that, checking Facebook daily and making sure that everybody was posting. So thank you. So I had a couple that were the most creative. This was, Joan made a post because she was trying to figure out a way to get a 60-minute stretch of exercise in, and she was looking for what she could do. So she has has downloaded the zombie app, which I have no idea what it is, but I think it's zombies chasing you when you run. I quite frankly don't know, but it was funny. And Strange Things. She's watching those while she's on the treadmill. And then Amy, if she's on tonight, I just have to say that her board to remind her of things to do. I love the idea that she had to take a shower on there. That's my kind of friend. And then, so the worst, sorry, the worst owie, I don't know how else to put it. Andrea, man, she really like whooped herself this weekend with her ankle. And I'm so sorry because I know what a bummer it is. But I do know that we've talked about this. Like every time you get injured, instead of being injured, it's a chance to say, okay, what can I do differently? Not like, what can I do not to be injured, because injuries happen, but what can I do with this injury? How can I keep moving? So, you know, I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Like one of my things was when I hurt my hand and I really couldn't kayak, but I could run, I could hike, I could bike to some degree. So, you know, I couldn't lift weights anymore, but I was still able to do other things that kept me moving. And I know I have friends who, you know, have hurt themselves doing X, and so they go do Y. You can't ride your bike, and so you go run, or you can't run, and so you go swim. So look at, if you win, I don't want to say win, but it does happen. Injuries do happen. Like if you're pretty active, you're going to tweak something occasionally. So what can you do differently? Like what's that option? What's your outside option? And then I'm going to also, the other one was, I wanted to give a big shout out to Carrie too. Carrie has lost 100 pounds. Like obviously she didn't do it over the course of our group, but she's been in there, she's been posting, and that was one of her big goals, and she lost 100 pounds. So like, I think that is awe-inspiring, actually, awe-inspiring. So thank you guys for all that. You know what, and to everyone who's been on here, thank you. It's been fun. And I'm not done because I will be back again on the 12th. Yep, sorry, checking my calendar, of course, on the 12th, and I'm going to be on the 19th again. Then I'm off for a week, and then I'm back again. So we're going to keep going. Okay, zombie run is zombies chasing you. That's what I kind of thought it was, Joan. Love it. I'm not. Oh, you don't have your acceptance speech ready. I'm so sorry, Joan. You can come back on later and do it, okay? And Kayla, thank you for everything, and good job to everyone. So any questions, like any questions at all, because I do want to just do one other thing, which is like, what's next? There's two things that are going to happen next. One of them is I will be coming back Facebook Lives Monday night. I'm changing it to 6 simply because it's easier for me. Sorry, everybody, but it's just easier for me to be here at 6. And then the other thing is those of you who are in the private Facebook group or on the newsletter list, podcast list, will get an application. It's a VIP application for a small coaching group that I'm doing. And that will be going out probably next Monday. And Monday happens to be my birthday, so I'm going to send you guys a gift on my birthday. And so that'll be going out. So keep an eye out for that. And then I'm just going to be here answering questions, catching up with everybody, working on the podcast, and just, you know, keeping things going. So for me, I know that a couple of years ago, I had gotten to the point where I was letting work just run me, like, and literally run me down. My idea of fitness is that for me, I like to be moving 5-6 days a week. I mean, that's what feels good to me. It's what keeps me feeling good. And I was probably at the 1, maybe 2 days a week stage at that point, and it wasn't feeling good. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows what it is that makes them feel the best and gets them the fittest, and then help you get there. Like whatever it takes, whether if you're in Houston and I happen to be in Houston at the time, whether we're cycling together or whether we're cheering each other on Facebook, whether we're in a coaching group together, whatever it is, I just want to make sure that my friends are doing everything they can to do everything that keeps them feeling great. So that is my bottom line. Like, it's really important to me to make sure that everyone is doing awesome and feeling great. So, so there, that's my evening. That is my quick wrap up. I'm trying to do this as fast as I can because I know not everybody wants to sit around and listen to me talk all night. If you are in Houston, I'll be doing a couple of live talks, I think on the 19th and 20th, but I'll post them in the group if you want to drop by and join me. And otherwise, leave your questions, your comments. Congratulations to everybody who's been involved in the last 5 weeks. It was really awe-inspiring for me, actually. And very, it just made me feel great to see everyone in there. And like I said, it made me step up my game too. So thank you guys. I love all of you, and I will see you again soon, okay? Have a wonderful evening. See you later.